Investigators breaking their silence tonight on the deadliest mass shooting ever in Colorado Springs.
And while everything happened so quickly in those first few hours on Mother's Day on the southeast side of our city, the police here say it all started because of domestic violence.
When he wasn't invited to a family gathering, the suspect responded by opening fire and killing 6 victims before taking his own life.
Police say the suspect had been dating Sandra Ibarra for about a year, showing signs of controlling and jealous behavior.
Trying to isolate her from her family and making efforts to prevent her from attending family events.
And this was a dramatic reminder to me of just how big a problem it remains in our community and throughout our country and the world.
What's the most difficult decision you've had to make to fulfill your destiny?
For me, probably leaving an abusive relationship.
Within a short 6 months, our relationship went from honeymoon phase to him trying to take my life, ultimately. I didn't know the signs of emotional abuse or verbal abuse at the time, so I didn't even realize I was in an abusive relationship until I almost lost my life to it.
A Colorado man is on trial for brutally assaulting and almost killing his girlfriend.
But after serving 10 years and despite Tara's pleas, Sharkey was granted parole in 2020.
I don't think a day went by that I didn't think, is today going to be the day that I get a call or find out that he has killed someone or hurt someone?
It didn't take long. In January of this year, Sharkey was arrested for the 3rd time, this time in Utah, accused of brutally assaulting a woman he was dating.
Abuse is not just usually a one-time thing. It's a cycle that's ongoing and that escalates over time.
Well, the number of homicides in Colorado Springs in 2020 is up and is on record pace right now to be the deadliest year in our city's history.
We are definitely seeing an increase again in the number of calls that we're receiving and an increase in the level of violence that we are seeing.
1 in 3 teens experience some type of abuse, whether that's physical, sexual, or emotional abuse.
Local police data shows the number of monthly domestic calls received in Colorado Springs jumped from 800 in 2019 to 1,200 in 2020. That's up 50%.
32 Coloradans are killed by former or current intimate partners in 2018 alone. Almost 2/3 of those were killed using firearms. 15% of homicides in Colorado were committed by intimate partners. Nearly 37% of Colorado women and 30.5% of Colorado men experience violence from an intimate partner.
So while we may speak very dispassionately about trends and numbers, the reality is that this is always an individual human being who's lost their life.
Home isn't necessarily a safe place for everybody.
For those individuals where violence or power and control is already existing in a relationship, those added stressors are exacerbating those situations.
It was incredible when we did Big Little Lies, how we would sit around all the women and talk about each one of us had very specific experiences. There was a range of experiences, but there wasn't a woman there that hadn't been affected by abuse.
We're empowering those individuals that have been impacted. We're not telling them what choices to make because their choices have been taken away from them for so long. We're sitting with them and letting them define what that next path looks like.
TESSA works to help all victims of domestic violence, sex assault, stalking, and human trafficking in El Paso and Teller counties. They provide shelter with a 34-bed safe house, access to legal support and advocates, and they have a 24/7 safeline victims can call.
The government grants they get just aren't enough anymore, and at this point, they need more financial donations.
Be able to have that extra money coming in so we can continue to give and provide that support and safety to individuals who need TESSA, it's crucial.
Support is crucial. Your presence here tonight is the first step in showing your support for those individuals in our community experiencing domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. You heard the numbers. This past year alone, we have seen a 50% increase in the number of people needing help. Those people could be your friends, your neighbors, your family members. The impact you can make means more now than ever before. I ask you to join me and everyone else here to stand up and say, intimate partner violence is not okay. Thank you to our community partners for the continued collaboration and supporting those we serve. Our work would not be possible without them.
Somebody asked me How could such a strong, powerful woman who was doing so well in her career and so successful ever let somebody do that to her? That's a question that you ask yourself the entire time, and that's part of why you don't leave, right? It's, well, I couldn't be abused. I'm not a victim of domestic violence. That can't be my definition. My first experience with TESSA was at a gala where I heard a survivor telling her story of her physically abusive marriage. And what I wasn't prepared for was how closely I would connect with everything that she shared about her marriage, everything except for my ex never physically harmed me. And at one point, she said something that hit incredibly close to home. She said, "If only I could do everything perfectly, maybe he'll stop hurting me." I had said those words to myself at least 100 times. You get to this point of where it's almost like the frog in boiling water, where it starts out lukewarm, and as it slowly gets turned up, you don't recognize the temperature change until it's too late. As much as he pulled me away from my friends, I also self-isolated because of the fear that they would think what he told me I was: incompetent, incapable, unlovable, undeserving. Not enough. If I make the decision to leave him, is everybody going to turn against me? Because that's what he seems to think would happen. That spiral of emotional abuse takes you to places that you can't understand if you haven't been there. And you may not understand when you're in it. How many other people are there that are trapped in that same or similar hell of believing what somebody's said about them, told to them, that somebody who is supposed to love them, to cherish them, to care for them and protect them is the one that's actually causing them the most pain. You never know when you or somebody that you love might benefit from the support, the encouragement, or the love of somebody who's gone through hell and back and came out stronger on the other side, strong enough to help others heal because of TESSA. I had shared a lot of information about TESSA with several of my friends, never thinking that one of my most cautious, most kind, considerate, and compassionate friends would ever actually need their services. I'll never forget how helpless I felt the day that I got a message from her saying, "I'm in the ER. Will you please ask TESSA to send somebody to help me? I was raped." TESSA sent an advocate to the hospital to be with her during one of the most unfathomable and just vulnerable days of her life. That financial support was such a tremendous blessing, and I'm so grateful that TESSA was able to offer financial assistance in addition to the emotional support and just ongoing services for her to help her move forward and really regain her life. Hurt people hurt people. And I've seen so many situations where healed people also heal people. And they can create a ripple effect of healing that you may never ever fully understand the entire impact of. TESSA is that rock that starts the ripple effect of inspiration, hope, and healing. If sharing my story can be just one of the ripples that can help inspire that ripple of hope to help others, then it's worth sharing.